Welcome back. I hope your brains are feeling bright and ready to look at mass extinctions and how they actually occur. Now, what could possibly make a whole lot of animals become extinct? Well, scientists don't really know because there was nobody around at that time. So what scientists have done, they look at the evidence, and from the evidence, fossil evidence, geological evidence, they've come up with 3 theories that could possibly explain these mass extinctions. Now, scientists differ on which one actually happened. So you will find some scientists saying, no, it's definitely the asteroid impact. Other scientists saying, no, it was volcanic eruption. Just bear in mind, nobody actually knows. And there's evidence for all 3 of those theories. So basically, you can choose the one you want to believe. This is an artist's impression of what happened at the time that asteroid hit. This is North America. This is the Gulf of Mexico. If we have a look at a map, that is the Yucatan Peninsula, and that is where the crater is, and the lines show how the monstrous tsunami spread across the whole of that Gulf of Mexico area. This is also an artist's impression showing the asteroid impact, the huge tsunami, and of course, if you have a look, something that big would cause a huge splash, and that's basically what caused the tsunami. Then, this part is very interesting because the asteroid was so hot that the rock where it hit actually melted. And the tsunami brought in a whole lot of debris, bits of different types of rock, which are now embedded in the molten rock, and they've actually found rocks like that at the impact site. And this is a picture of the actual crater. It's a satellite picture, and that crater is 110 kilometers across. And you can see from the look of it, it's definitely an impact crater. Now, what would the long-term effects be of this asteroid hitting the Earth, causing such huge disruption? And how could it actually lead to animals becoming extinct? There were several long-term results, and we're going to have a look at them. Okay, first of all, dust and sulfur was thrown into the atmosphere, so much so that the Earth was in total darkness for 3 months. And the results of that were catastrophic. First of all, a drop in temperature because there's no sunlight, death of plants because they couldn't photosynthesize, and because there are no plants, there's a drop in the oxygen level, which would lead to the death of animals because of lack of food and oxygen. Next, because the asteroid was burning up, devastating fires, wildfires, spread across large areas of the Earth, killing plants and animals. Third one, monstrous tsunamis swept animals over the Earth. Then, because of the impact, the energy of the impact, the tectonic plates were unbalanced, and that led to volcanic eruptions. Now, how do scientists actually say this happened? What evidence have they found? And the most important evidence is in the fossil record between the Mesozoic and Cenozoic sediments, there's a thin layer of clay containing an element iridium. And if we look at the picture, that is this thin layer of iridium. And you might think, well, how does that say there was an asteroid? Iridium is an element that is rare on Earth, but common in asteroids. And the rocks above and below this had very, very little iridium in them. So scientists use that as an indication that there was something that came from outer space. Another piece of evidence is this is the rock from underneath the impact site. And you can see there's lots of different types of rocks, colored rocks of all different types. And they have been cemented together. Remember I said the very rock became molten. And these are now all cemented together, and that is also evidence of an impact. Another popular theory that scientists use to explain mass extinctions is volcanic eruptions. And not just a little volcano like this. It's volcanic eruptions on a huge scale, where the earth opened up and this molten lava came flowing out and spread over thousands of kilometers of the earth. And volcanic eruptions give off lots and lots of gases into the earth. So what would be the consequences of those? Large quantities of dust and ash in gases, blocking sunlight, causing cooling of the earth, and death of plants. And this would basically break down your ecological food chains. So again, animals would die. Alternatively, some volcanic eruptions give off a lot of carbon dioxide and hot toxic gases like sulfur dioxide, and this would cause global warming and acid rain, which would also kill off plants. So which one was it? We don't know. Could be volcanoes caused global warming or global cooling. Remember, there was nobody around at the time to tell us what happened. A piece of evidence for volcanic eruptions is in India. They have a huge plateau called the Deccan Plateau, which is 2 kilometers thick of flood basalt, which is basically from the lava that oozed out of the earth and spread over 500,000 square kilometers. That's a lot of lava. The third theory that scientists have, they said, no, it was actually the climate change. And there is also a bit of evidence for this, because we do know that the Earth did go through several ice ages. And they reckon that it was the ice ages that actually caused the extinction of species in the different extinction events. Okay, how would this work? If there was a decrease in CO2, remember we did say that gas levels changed over time. It could cause global cooling. That would give us an ice age, which would decrease the sea level, increase the salinity of the sea, and because it's so cold, plants would not be able to absorb ice. So they would die, and then, of course, that would be followed by the death of animals. And evidence for this is large areas near the North Sea are covered with glacial deposits. Okay, and this is an example of what ice leaves behind it. As ice moves, it picks up lots of stones, and when the ice melts, it leaves piles and piles of stones. Now, what we're looking at now is the 5 extinctions, and we're looking to see what effect did they actually have on animals and plants on Earth. How many different species became extinct? So, if we have a look at the first extinction, in the Ordovician period, 86% of life on Earth died out completely. In the late Devonian extinction, 75% of species were lost. Then, this is the biggie. The end Permian extinction killed 95% of all life on Earth. Quite mind-blowing. Then there was another extinction which killed off 80%, and the extinction that we know about, the one that killed dinosaurs 65 million years ago, that only killed off 76% of life on Earth. And mammals were some of those that actually survived. If we look at this, this gives us an overview of geological time, starting with, at the beginning, 540 million years ago, the increase in the diversity of life that we call the Cambrian explosion. During the Ordovician period, there was lots of diversification, lots of different species of animals arose, and then we had the first mass extinction, and that they're pretty sure is a volcanic eruption. That's the second mass extinction, just less than 400 million years ago, and that scientists don't quite know. They're still arguing about it. The third mass extinction, this drop here, they think is a volcanic eruption. The fourth mass extinction, they also think was a volcanic eruption, and then this was the one that killed off the dinosaurs, they think was the asteroid impact. But remember, scientists are still arguing about what actually caused each of these extinctions. Then, some scientists are talking about a 6th mass extinction. But this time, it's not asteroids, it's not volcanoes, it's humans. The figures are very worrying because animals are going extinct at a rate not seen except in mass extinction events. And that is because of humans. Now, if we look at this graph, this shows the blue is how the human population has risen. And do you think it's an accident that exactly as the human population rises, the extinction rate rises? Now, why does that happen? Because I'm sure you don't kill off animals. You don't want to hurt animals. But it's the way we live. The number of people on Earth, how much we use in the way of resources, how many natural areas we bulldoze to build houses, soccer stadiums, and things like that which we need. The number of natural areas we plow up so that we can plant food to feed these huge numbers of humans. It's the amount of pollution we cause. It's the amount of plastic we throw down in the streets, which ends up in the ocean. And you do know what happens to plastic that ends up in the ocean. Turtles and other animals think it's a jellyfish, and they eat it, and the plastic gets stuck in their digestive system, and they die. So what you as a person do, the resources you use, will have an effect on the world. Let's hope we don't push the world to the 6th extinction. Now, before your minds get too muddled, we need to take a break. See you later.